Hello, everyone. Welcome to English You Are, the place where English learning becomes simple, clear, and full of meaning. Today, we have a story for you. It's not just a story, it's a journey about change, growth, and personal development. If you want to improve your English and learn something that can change your life, stay with us until the end. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us create more beautiful English stories for you. Today's story is about something we all face: laziness. That quiet, sneaky feeling that keeps us from doing the things we know we should do. The feeling that says, "I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. This is the story of a man named Ethan. A man who wanted to change his life, but didn't know how. It was a quiet morning in San Diego. The sun was rising slowly through soft, golden clouds. Ethan's alarm clock had been ringing for 10 minutes. But he didn't move. He pulled the blanket closer, eyes half open, and whispered to himself, 5 more minutes. 5 minutes turned into 30. And 30 minutes became 1 more hour. When he finally got up, he felt tired, heavy, and behind, as usual. He grabbed his phone, checked social media, scrolled through videos, and sighed. He didn't have time for breakfast. He didn't have time for exercise. He barely made it to work. And all day, he told himself the same story. "I'll do better tomorrow." But deep down, Ethan knew, tomorrow was just another excuse. Ethan was 28 years old. He had a stable job at a small marketing company. He wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't excited either. Every day felt like a copy of the last. He wanted to learn English better. He wanted to exercise more. He wanted to eat healthy, to save money, to grow. But he never started. Because he always said, "I don't feel motivated." Does that sound familiar? Maybe you felt the same before. When you want to change, but somehow, your mind whispers, "Not today." Don't worry. You're not alone. Ethan felt that too. One evening, Ethan came home after a long day. He dropped his bag on the couch and sat down. He felt empty. Not sad, not angry, just empty. He opened his phone and started scrolling. Then something caught his eye, a photo of his old friend, Alex. They went to high school together. Now, Alex looked completely different. He was fit, smiling, full of life. The caption said, "Discipline is freedom." Ethan stared at the words. He didn't feel jealous. He felt lost. He asked himself quietly, "Why can't I do that? Why do I always give up?" He didn't know it yet. But this was the first spark of change. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He turned from side to side, thinking about his life. He remembered all the plans he made and never finished. The books he bought but never read. The goals he wrote on paper. Learn English, go running, wake up early. All left behind. Finally, at 2 a.m., he whispered to himself, "Something has to change." He didn't know how. He didn't have a plan. But for the first time in a long time, he wanted to try. The next morning, something strange happened. Ethan woke up early, not because he wanted to, but because his phone fell off the bed. When he picked it up, a video on social media started playing automatically. It was a man speaking with a calm, deep voice. He said, "You don't need motivation. You need habits. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays." Ethan froze. It felt like those words were meant for him. He replayed the video again. Then again. And again. He sat on the edge of his bed. And for the first time, he didn't scroll away. He just listened. The voice continued. "Start small. Start with one thing you can do right now. Don't wait for the right moment, create it." Ethan looked around his messy room. Clothes everywhere. unmade bed, a half-empty coffee cup on the desk. He smiled a little and said, "Okay, let's start small." So he stood up and made his bed. That was it. No big goals. No new year, new me. Just one small thing. But when he finished, he felt something strange, pride. A tiny spark of control. Something inside whispered, "Maybe I can do more." And that's how his journey began. If you're still here, you're doing great. You're learning, listening, and growing, just like Ethan. Ethan's first day wasn't perfect. He still felt lazy. He still checked his phone too often. But that one small action, making his bed, changed the way he saw himself. The next morning, he did it again. Then he brushed his teeth, drank a glass of water, and went to work a little earlier. No one noticed. But Ethan did. He was building something invisible. Discipline. And discipline, he would soon learn, is stronger than motivation. That was just the beginning. Ethan didn't know it yet. But those small steps would lead to something much bigger. Because, sometimes, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. It was Saturday morning. For the first time in a long time, Ethan woke up before his alarm. He didn't feel excited or powerful, just calm. He stretched, took a deep breath, and remembered the words he'd heard from that video. Start small. Don't wait for the right moment, create it. So, he did. He made his bed again. He drank a glass of water. Then he opened his window and looked outside. The world looked different. Not because it had changed, but because he had started to. After breakfast, Ethan sat at his desk. His laptop was there, covered in dust. He had always wanted to use it to study English. But somehow, he never found the time. Today, though, he had no excuses. He opened it, typed "Learn English through stories," and pressed enter. Ethan listened. And for the first time, he didn't just hear English, he felt it. He smiled and thought, maybe I can learn this way. He didn't understand every word. But he didn't stop. He listened, paused, repeated, little by little. And when the video ended, he felt proud, not because he was perfect, but because he didn't quit. That night, Ethan wrote something new on a small notebook. At the top of the page, he wrote, "My 7-day challenge." Below it, he wrote 3 simple rules. Keycap 1, make my bed every morning. Keycap 2, study English for 15 minutes. Keycap 3, no phone after 10 p.m. He looked at the list and thought, that's not so hard. And it wasn't, at first. On day 1, he did everything perfectly. He felt unstoppable. On day 2, he felt a little tired. But he pushed through. Then came day 3. Work was stressful. He came home late. He just wanted to lie down and do nothing. He looked at his notebook on the desk. For a moment, he thought, I'll just skip one day. But then, he remembered how it felt to finish something. That small pride. That quiet victory. He stood up, opened his laptop, and pressed play. The English story started again. He repeated the sentences out loud, slowly, carefully. 15 minutes later, he closed the laptop and smiled. He whispered, I did it. That night, Ethan realized something important. It wasn't about feeling motivated. It was about showing up, even when he didn't feel like it. Because action creates motivation, not the other way around. By day 7, something had changed. Ethan's room looked cleaner. His mornings felt calmer. And his English was improving, slowly, but clearly. He started to understand phrases like, stick to it, keep going, and never give up. Each word felt like a tiny piece of confidence. One morning, Ethan's phone buzzed. It was a message from Alex, the same friend whose post had inspired him weeks ago. Hey Ethan. Long time no see. Wanna grab a coffee? Ethan smiled. He hadn't seen Alex in years. Maybe it was time. They met at a small cafe near the beach. Alex looked the same, strong, relaxed, full of life. After a few minutes of catching up, Ethan asked, "Alex, how do you do it? You always seem so motivated." Alex laughed. "Motivated? Nah, not really. I just made a deal with myself." Ethan looked curious. "A deal?" Alex nodded. "Yeah. I promised myself I'd do one small thing every day, even if I didn't want to. Because motivation fades. But discipline, it builds you." Ethan thought about his own mornings, his notebook, his 15 minutes of English. And he realized he had made the same deal, without even knowing it. That night, Ethan added something new to his notebook. Discipline is not punishment. It's a promise. He underlined it twice. From that day forward, he began to treat discipline not as something hard, but as something powerful. A tool to shape his life. Ethan's journey wasn't perfect. There were days he felt tired. Days he didn't want to get out of bed. But now, he had something stronger than motivation. He had momentum. And momentum, once started, is hard to stop. He wasn't chasing perfection anymore. He was chasing progress. And every little step, every small win, was proof that he was changing. If you're learning English today, if you feel lazy or unmotivated sometimes, remember Ethan. You don't need to change everything at once. You just need to start. Make your bed. Listen to one story. Repeat one sentence. Then another. And another. Because one day, you'll look back and realize you're no longer fighting laziness. You've overcome it. Last time, we saw Ethan starting to change. He found small habits that helped him move forward. He wasn't lazy anymore. He was building discipline, one little step at a time. But life doesn't always go in a straight line. One Sunday morning, Ethan woke up to the sound of rain. The sky was gray, and the air felt heavy. He looked at his notebook, his 7-day challenge. But this time, there was no energy inside him. He sat on the edge of his bed and said softly, "I'll do it later." He picked up his phone, opened social media, and started scrolling. Minutes turned into hours. The rain kept falling. And Ethan did nothing. By the afternoon, he felt worse. Guilty. Lazy again. He thought, maybe I was just lucky last week. Maybe I'm not really disciplined. He sighed and turned off his phone. He looked around his room, the unmade bed, the messy desk. It looked like his old life again. That night, Ethan lay in bed, wide awake. He whispered, "Why is it so hard to stay consistent?" He wanted to give up. But deep down, something small, like a tiny spark, said, "Try again tomorrow." The next morning, Ethan didn't feel better. But he remembered that spark. He forced himself to get up, make his bed, and drink a glass of water. He didn't feel proud, just neutral. But that was enough. He opened his laptop, clicked on YouTube, and went back to English UR. The new story video had a title, "How to Stay Motivated When You Feel Tired." Ethan smiled weakly. That's me, he thought. He pressed play. The voice in the video said, "Motivation is not a light that stays on forever. Sometimes it fades, and that's okay. What matters is that you remember why you started." Ethan paused the video. He took a deep breath and said quietly, "Why did I start?" He thought for a moment. He remembered how lost he used to feel, how unhappy he was with his lazy routines, and how good it felt to finally take control. He whispered, "I started because I wanted to change my life." Then he pressed play again. That day, Ethan didn't do much. He just studied English for 10 minutes, cleaned his desk, and took a short walk outside. But those 10 minutes, that short walk, felt like a victory. Because he had shown up again. And sometimes, showing up is the hardest part. Weeks passed. Ethan kept going, not perfectly, but consistently. He missed a few days, but he never missed 2 in a row. He learned that discipline wasn't about never falling. It was about getting up every time you did. Then, one day at work, Ethan got some bad news. His company was cutting jobs. He wasn't fired yet. But many of his friends were. Everyone was worried, anxious. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. His mind was full of fear. What if I lose my job? What will I do? He looked at his small notebook. The pages were full of his handwriting now. Lists, goals, ideas. At the top of one page, it said, "Discipline is not punishment. It's a promise." He smiled weakly. That promise, to himself, was the only thing he could control right now. So, he did what he could. He woke up early. He studied English again, this time, not just for fun, but because he knew it might help his future. Every lesson he learned felt like one more piece of armor. Days became weeks. The company didn't fire him. But Ethan realized something. Even if they had, he wouldn't be the same lost man he was before. He had skills now. Confidence. Direction. And that came from doing one thing. Over and over again. Even when it was hard. One evening, Ethan got a message from Alex again. "Hey man, I'm joining a weekend fitness challenge. Want to come?" Ethan laughed. A few months ago, he would have said, "No way. I'm too lazy." But now, he felt different. He replied, "Yes. Let's do it." The first day of the fitness challenge was tough. His legs hurt. He was slow. He wanted to quit many times. But then he remembered what he had learned from English UR, and from himself. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. He kept going. Step by step. Breath by breath. And when he crossed the finish line, he wasn't the fastest. But he was proud. Because he had beaten the only real opponent. His old self. That night, Ethan sat by his window. The sky was full of stars. He opened his notebook and wrote, "Today, I learned that discipline is not about being strong every day. It's about coming back, even when you feel weak." He closed the book and whispered, "Thank you, past me, for not giving up." He smiled, feeling calm and full of quiet confidence. If you're listening right now, remember, laziness doesn't make you a bad person. It just means your energy needs direction. Start small, like Ethan did. Make your bed. Read one page. Learn one English sentence. Then do it again tomorrow. Because the secret to staying motivated isn't waiting for the perfect day. It's building small habits that make every day count. You can do it. And when you do, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. A few months had passed since Ethan joined the weekend fitness challenge. His body felt stronger, but more importantly, his mind felt steady. He didn't feel lazy anymore. He felt balanced. He still had bad days, days when he didn't want to study, days when he wanted to skip his morning routine. But now, instead of giving in, he simply said, "It's okay. I'll do what I can today." And he did. One morning, while he was studying English, he got a message from his younger sister, Lily. "Hey, Ethan. I saw your fitness photos. You look great. I don't know how you do it. I feel so lazy these days." Ethan smiled. It was strange hearing those words. Because that used to be him. He typed back, "You don't need to do everything at once. Just start small. Do one thing today, even if it's tiny." She replied, "Like what?" He thought for a moment and then wrote, "Make your bed." Lily laughed in the chat, but she promised to try. The next morning, Ethan woke up to a new message. I did it. I made my bed and drank water. It's silly, but I feel good. Ethan smiled, his heart warm. He realized something beautiful. His discipline was contagious. By changing himself, he had started changing others. At work, his coworkers noticed the same thing. He was calm, patient, and reliable. He didn't rush or complain. When problems appeared, he handled them one at a time, just like he handled his morning habits. One day, his manager called him into the office. "Ethan," she said, "I've seen how consistent you've been lately. You've improved a lot, not just your work, but your attitude. We'd like you to lead a new project." Ethan was shocked. Him? The guy who used to be lazy and always said, "Tomorrow?" He nodded slowly and said, "Thank you. I'll do my best." That night, he went home and wrote in his notebook again. Discipline builds trust, in yourself and in others. He underlined it twice. Weeks turned into months. Ethan's new project was going well. It was hard, full of deadlines and challenges, but he stayed focused. Whenever he felt tired, he'd take 5 deep breaths, stretch his shoulders, and whisper, "One step at a time." It became his mantra. Then, one Friday afternoon, his manager called him again. "Ethan, I just wanted to say thank you. You've done an incredible job. We're promoting you to team leader." Ethan froze. He almost couldn't believe it. He had spent years thinking he was lazy, unmotivated, not good enough. But now, standing there, he realized he was never truly lazy, he was just lost. And self-discipline had helped him find his way. That weekend, Ethan met Alex and Lily at the same beach cafe. The sun was warm, the waves were calm, and everything felt peaceful. Lily looked excited. "Ethan, guess what? I've been doing yoga every morning for 2 weeks." Ethan smiled. "That's amazing. See? It starts small." Alex laughed. "I told you, man. You're a teacher now, a quiet one, but a good one." Ethan laughed too. "I'm not a teacher," he said. "I just learned how to keep promises to myself." They sat there for a while, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. It was simple, peaceful, perfect. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep again. But this time, not from worry. He was full of ideas. He thought, if English UR videos helped me so much, maybe I can share my story too, to help others who feel lazy or lost like I did. So, he grabbed his notebook and started writing his first story draft. He called it, "The Power of Starting Small." He wrote for an hour, then 2. When he finished, he felt proud, not because it was perfect, but because it was real. The next day, he recorded his voice and uploaded the story online. At first, only a few people watched. But slowly, comments appeared. "This helped me start again. I thought I was lazy too, thank you for this. I'll try making my bed tomorrow." Ethan smiled, tears in his eyes. He whispered, "It's working." From that day on, Ethan kept sharing stories. Simple stories about growth, effort, and everyday courage. He wasn't famous, but he was fulfilled. And every time someone left a comment saying, "Your story motivated me," he'd whisper the same words. Discipline is not punishment. It's a promise. He had found his purpose. Ethan's life had changed completely. But not because of luck, or talent, or magic. It changed because he learned one powerful truth. Motivation is what starts you. Discipline is what keeps you going. And that truth, that secret, can change anyone's life, including yours. So remember, you don't have to do everything today. You just have to do something. One action. One promise. One step. Because every small step builds strength. And every strong day builds your future. In the last part, Ethan discovered something amazing. He realized that self-discipline doesn't only change you. It can inspire the people around you too. His story became a small light, a message for anyone who felt stuck, tired, or unmotivated. But Ethan's journey wasn't over yet. Because one day, something unexpected happened. Something that would remind him what discipline truly means. It was a quiet morning. Ethan sat at his desk, writing another story. The sun was shining through the window, and everything felt peaceful. Then, his phone buzzed. It was a message from his sister, Lily. "Hey Ethan. Can we talk? It's important." He called her right away. Lily's voice was soft, a little shaky. "I didn't get the job I wanted. I worked so hard, but they said no." Ethan could hear her trying not to cry. "I feel like a failure," she said. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said gently, "Lily, do you remember the first time you made your bed and felt proud?" "Yeah," she whispered. "That feeling, it's not gone. It's still inside you." Failure doesn't mean you stop. It means you try again, stronger. Lily was silent for a few seconds. Then she said softly, "You're right. I'll try again." Ethan smiled. "Good. And when you do, tell yourself this: I'm not starting from zero, I'm starting from experience." When the call ended, Ethan sat quietly for a long time. He thought about his own past. All the times he had failed. All the days he had felt lazy. All the moments when he almost gave up. And then he realized something powerful. He hadn't just overcome laziness. He had learned how to overcome himself. That evening, Ethan went for a walk. The sunset painted the sky with gold and pink. He saw people running, walking their dogs, talking, laughing. And he thought, everyone here is fighting their own battle. Some are fighting fear, some are fighting doubt. And maybe some are fighting laziness, just like I did. He smiled softly and whispered, "We're all just trying to become better." When he got home, he opened his notebook. The same one that had started it all. The pages were now filled with notes, lessons, and stories. He flipped to the very first page, where he had written, "My 7-day challenge." He traced the words with his finger and whispered, "Thank you, old me. You started this." Then, on the last empty page, he wrote something new, his final message to himself and to others. Self-discipline is not about control. It's about freedom. The freedom to live the life you truly want. He smiled. It was simple, but true. Weeks later, Ethan's stories began to spread online. People from around the world left comments. "This helped me wake up early again. I started learning English today because of you. Thank you for showing that small steps matter." Every comment made him smile. He didn't need fame or money. He just needed to know that his story mattered. And deep down, he knew. That's what true motivation feels like. One day, he recorded a new video. He sat in front of his camera, with the same warm smile, and said, "Hey everyone, it's Ethan here. I used to be lazy. I used to say, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never came, until I made it come. I started small. I built habits. I kept promises to myself. And now, I want to help you do the same." He looked straight into the camera and added, "You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin, right now, right here." Because the secret to staying motivated is to take the next small step. He smiled gently and said, "Thank you for being part of my story." He pressed stop. The camera light turned off. And Ethan sat quietly for a moment, feeling peace, gratitude, and purpose. And that was the story of Ethan. A man who learned that laziness isn't the end. It's just the beginning of a new choice. He showed us that real power doesn't come from being busy all the time. It comes from being consistent. From choosing discipline over comfort. and progress over perfection. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us. If you want to learn English, if you want to grow, if you want to change, don't wait for motivation. Create it. Step by step, word by word, day by day. Thank you for listening to English UR, Learn English Through Stories. If Ethan's story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep creating stories that make English easy and life a little brighter. And remember, every great change begins with one small action. So take yours today. See you in the next story? Here on English UR, where English meets your everyday life.